Ime, health updates on everybody. Is everybody going to DC? Anybody staying back?
Marcus will not be going, feeling ill, not COVID related, just under the weather, and he won't be traveling with us. Aaron Neesmith is feeling a little ill. He's probably going to travel, and we'll see how he feels tomorrow. But as of right now, he didn't practice today.
Non-COVID as well?
Yes.
Is Marcus, does it seem like a carryover from wherever we were, Charlotte, where he had the migraine and was a little nauseous?
Yeah, he's been up and down since, played through some stuff and played well and helped us. But it's been feeling up and down the last few days, and didn't feel great this morning.
After going back and looking at the film, is there anything you see? I know we talked a lot about effort the other night, but X's and O's wise that you are putting a point of emphasis on for the rematch?
Individual defense is where it always starts. And team defense behind that is probably more paramount. We feel like we have a lot of high quality individual defenders, but if they do get beat, our team defense hasn't been up to par where we'd like it to be. It has in most games, and it was in last game, and somewhat at times in every game. But it's something we definitely worked on. Had a lot of chance to touch it in training camp, and just got back to that today. Our team defensive concepts and having each other's backs and being connected on the court.
Hey, man. You were pretty critical of your players the other night. How do they respond to that? When you do have to talk tough, how do they take it?
They've been great. Like I said, we have a high character group that understands and wants to be held accountable. And I think critical might be a stretch. It's just being honest and talking about lack of effort. And so that is what I am always going to do. Let them know what I see, and at the same time look within ourselves as coaches and what we can do to help them be better. But our guys are resilient. They're tough. They've fought back from deficits throughout the year, and I'm just trying to really impart playing that way from the start and not letting a team out hustle you, out scrap you, and start to play when you get down double digits.
You talked before the game just about, or after the game, just about, the lack of focus you saw. What did you see from the response today, just in practice itself, in terms of that, in that department?
Yeah, it was great. It was high energy. We showed a ton of film, probably the longest film session of the year so far, to touch on all the things we saw in the game the other night. They responded well. Had a lot of dialogue in the film session, guys talking about what they saw and how we can get better at certain things. And so they carried over to practice today, and we're excited to get another chance at Washington tomorrow.
And you talked also the other night, just offensively, the slow start, and, just what are you seeing with, the two big lines there and just your guys' spacing overall? I know the offense has been up and down. You guys have had some really strong nights as well, but what do you, kind of see that 5 games in?
Yeah, I think offensively, more so than anything in last game, it was everybody trying to get their own to start the game. I think it was probably, other than the lob that we ran for Rob to start the game, it was a bunch of individual post-up possessions and not a lot of ball movement or pace. I don't think the big lineup has been a problem. I think offensively we've been pretty good overall. And honestly, it's probably the first and third quarter that we really run with that to start each. So it's not a ton of double big lineups, but even with that, we're comfortable, and like Al can space the floor and do different things. And Rob, is a hard roller, so they complement each other well. But in general, our offense is not the problem. It gets stagnant at times. And last game I mentioned us only having 18 assists for a season low for a team. I think we've been top 6 in the first 5 games. So that was like I said, I don't look at it as a norm, but guys were, especially when Jason got into some foul or times he thought he was fouled, he's tried to attack a little bit too much and try to get his own. And Jalen as well, I mentioned that to him, but for the most part, that hasn't been a problem all year.
We have a Zoom question, Coach, from Gary Washburn.
Yeah, Coach, 2 questions. One, do you wonder sometimes if the players are listening to you? Is that something that comes across when you're not telling them not to help on defense and to go one-on-one and they're doing it? Do you question that? And what do you do about that? And secondly, did you have a conversation with Jalen to kind of figure out like what's been going on, or if there's something, was he hurt or a little bit, feeling the after effects of the COVID, and how did that conversation go?
Regarding the players, I think they've been very receptive to it, and their play and the numbers show it. Jason having 8 assists against Charlotte, but he only has 2 this last game, so it's something that we show him film, have some individual sessions, and let him know the importance of what he is and who he is, and so they're all very receptive to that. I think it's shown with our team that we're making the extra pass and trying to get everybody else involved, and at times when it's stagnant and we're trying to do it by ourselves, you can see the difference. So that's pretty clear for them to see, and they understand that. As far as Jalen, yeah, we definitely talked. We talked after the game. We talked yesterday and today, and it could be a number of things. He's out for 10 days and he comes back and plays a lot of minutes and some overtime games and plays really well. But that timing and that conditioning and the things he missed in training camp could obviously, be part of the problem. But it could be some COVID after effects. You never know with that, how it hits everybody differently. I think Jason struggled at times last year coming back from it. I know Fournier went through it for a while, and it affects everybody different. So it could be something, but it could be general fatigue from playing heavy minutes and playing at a high level, and then coming back in the next night, he hasn't looked as sharp. So something we're all cognizant of. He's aware of it, and just figure out how we can best manage him to be more consistent.
Mark D'Amico.
Hey, Coach, what is the key to staying centered and positive as a team as you kind of go through some stuff here early in the season? Some other teams are dealing with it around the league, but just curious what your perspective is on that.
Keep the big picture in mind. It's 5 games in, we got 77 left, so it's not not time to panic or do anything drastic, come in throwing chairs and flipping tables or any of that. It's a long season, and I understand that, and the players do as well. We've had a lot of ups and downs through training camp and adversity early, and once we make it through that, we feel we'll be on a good page. But it's more so reiterating the things we did in training camp. We've seen glimpses of it when we played well together offensively and defensively, how it looks, and just trying to be more consistent with that.
John Corrales.
Hey, Coach. With the switching defense, I know you're probably sick of hearing questions about the switching defense, but are there some unintended consequences? Have you noticed any of those with guys specifically related to the rebounding?
Yeah, that's definitely one that has hurt us. We have counters behind it. Like initially, we want to keep bodies in front of bodies, make teams beat us with one-on-one isolation basketball, where we feel we have high quality defenders on the perimeters, bigs as well. The rebounds behind it is an area that we can be hurt. We try to triple switch and kick our smaller guards off. And so sometimes that has hurt us as well with Jalen, Jason. Some of our bigger wings haven't boxed out as well. So it's not just the guards being hurt down there, some of our bigger wings, but it's an effort thing. And there are some things that go behind it, and we do have some schemes behind it as well. So we feel we've been really good at some, and we showed them plenty of tape in Houston, Charlotte, and some of the things we're doing really well. And then when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we got a gang rebound. And a lot of times guys are standing on the perimeter watching a guy fight one-on-one down there. And so something we worked on today, showed a lot of film on today in the area, we definitely have to clean up, but rebounding would be one that you spoke of.
Final Zoom question from Bobby Manning.
Hey, Ime, a couple questions. First on focus, you've talked a lot about focus with this team. What kind of things stick out to you when they're focused versus maybe at the shoot around when they weren't focused, as you talked about? And then number 2 on Marcus, really poor shooting start to the season for him. What sticks out about you to his offensive start? And is some of that the sickness, or is it something different that you're seeing from him?
The focus that I've been mentioning, it really comes across all areas. We're heavy. We dig in onto the personnel, and a lot of times if Montrezl Harrell wants to get to his right hand or get back to his, over his left shoulder, and he continually gets there, that's something we're not focused on, the personnel. So we hit that 2-3 times throughout the day before we play a team. And so that's a lack of focus there, or not being in the proper spots and help defense. And that's just basically got to be on the weak side dunker, and you have to take one step across to help your teammate, and you don't do anything. That's a lack of focus there. So it comes across in a lot of areas. And I felt it wasn't sharp in shoot around the other day, but that was a one-off in my mind. We've been solid overall. We've played hard. Toronto game and last game were the 2 that we really felt we got out hustled. But for the most part, other than that, we've been great throughout training camp and practice. As far as Marcus, the thing that I'm not worried about is it's all going to balance out. Those shots are going to balance out. He's getting great looks, and teammates are finding him. It's just he's had a slow start, which a lot of guys have this year or in the past. In general, guys have those. So as long as he's taking the high quality shot, the open shot, we have no problem with it. He's been a proven guy that's done it. Hit some big shots in late in games in Charlotte, and in Houston, and in the past. I've been a part of that where he's went 5 for 7 against us in the past. So he's a guy that can make those shots, be confident, take the right shot, and we have no problem with it because guys are making the extra pass. And we talk about you draw 2 bodies, get off the ball, and they've done that, and he's just happened to miss some, as so have other guys. But we're not worried about that. It'll all balance out. We're shooting okay and can definitely shoot a lot better, and I think it'll all balance out soon.
We got a couple other Zoom late questions, Coach, from Dan Shaughnessy.
Coach, this is Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe. Just a quick thing you started off with, but how is it possible that we're talking about lack of effort 5 games into a season with a new coach?
Yeah, that's the question we asked last game, and it's something I stressed from day one. It was probably the first thing I talked about in our initial meeting is the effort that we have to play with every night, and we feel we have maybe 70-75% if we play with the proper effort. So the things I can attribute to that are guys being in and out of the lineup, lack of continuity, the overtime games that may have taken some out of some guys because the following 2 haven't been our highest effort games, but you just got to dig through that. Other teams, Washington played a back-to-back yesterday and played well against Atlanta. So, everybody plays through it. It's the NBA, and you have to bring that juice every night.
Final question and follow-up for Gary Washburn.
We can't hear you, sir.
You're breaking up, Gary.
You type it?
Gary, you're breaking up.
25 and 30.
Gary, you're breaking up.
Left you guys, obviously he's a problem because it seemed like he got them going, and then once
You got to start over, sir. We
Hello?
didn't hear you.
Gary, are you there?
You should text it, Gary.
I'm sorry about that. Montrezl Harrell went for 20. Sorry, Montrezl Harrell went for 25 and 13 again last night. So it wasn't only you guys. What can you guys do to contain him? Because it seemed like once he got going, he changed the game, and you guys they were able to stop. They didn't stop.
Yeah, with a guy like him, as I mentioned, we dig in on personnel. We know who he is. We know who's been in the league, and that's how he's built his reputation. He's an extremely hard player, but he's a monster on the glass. And so he was a big part of our film today with the effort and lack of rebounding, and just can't let him impact the game the way he does. It wasn't just us. I told the team he had 25 and 11 against us, 25 and 13 last night, and he's playing more with Gafford being out. So he's a guy we'll have to account for. And a lot of the clips were just him being more physical, being more aggressive, and us not hitting him or double teaming him off the glass. And so I think guys will take that to heart. We worked on some things today, and I pointed that out in the film today. So it's something that's not unexpected and not caught off guard by it, but you just have to match his intensity and bring the physicality back to him.
Brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, who are celebrating Ford Truck Month with great deals on Ranger, Super Duty, and the redesigned F-150. Ford trucks, built Ford tough.